blue-collar white men without college degrees are falling further behind in pay compared to white men with college degrees. I want to take a look at 1996 and now take a look at the picture 2014. Here, to put it all in perspective and also talk about the implications, particularly for next month, Ryan Girdusky and Sarah Westwood. Ryan, let me start with you. You know, this is something we know. This is something Donald Trump talks about when he talks about the Rust Belt in particular, the coal miners and things like that. But it's a devastating, it's really devastating. You look at drug addiction with heroin, you look at suicide rates with white working class people, it is at epidemic proportions. It's as high as AIDS was in the African American community in the early 90s. It is literally devastating. This is a serious concern that I think that, honestly, if they weren't white men, we would actually talk about it more, talk about solutions for it. I think that this is really, honestly, what is propelling his campaign, and this is why Democrats are focusing more now on the Sun Belt than the Rust Belt as far as election victory.
Yeah, Sarah, the thing is, though, is the idea of maybe a trade war with China, bringing back factory works, is that going to be the solution? You know, I've studied incomes for all the different races, and Asians in America make significantly more than everybody else. They also have a much higher college education level. 54% have college degrees.
Well, bringing back factory jobs is a solution to this problem, and this disparity between the wages that men with no education or high school education and men with college education have is created by the problems that Donald Trump is addressing with his campaign, right? One of them is unrestricted immigration that creates unnecessary competition for the dwindling number of jobs that are available for white men without a college degree. And the other are these free trade agreements like NAFTA, like the Trans-Pacific Partnership, that ship manufacturing jobs overseas. You know, those types of jobs used to be the ladder out of poverty and into the middle class for a lot of people, and those don't exist anymore.
You know, it's interesting that she said that, because when we look at Brexit, at least initially, we thought it was about the anti-immigration of Middle Eastern and Northern Africans. But the real crux of the problem is when they allowed Eastern Europeans to come in, and all of a sudden you have plumbers from these countries like Slovakia willing to do the plumbing job for half of what's a native person in the UK. I mean, it was an economic issue that America, we didn't understand, but it could be reflected in November, couldn't it?
Absolutely. And the thing is that if we want a proactive president, look, the question always comes up, who's going to pick your strawberries? Who's going to build your roads? Who's going to do this? A robot is in the future. That's the solution to almost everything. And a lot of these jobs won't be around in 20 years. How do we address the concerns now? How are we proactive into the future? And how do we make sure that those people can, the Americans can get the few jobs remaining left in this country?
Right, and but the future robots, but we're talking November,
yeah.
This year, right now, people, particularly white men without college degrees, have put all their faith in Donald Trump.
Absolutely. That's right. Their guy. He's finally first candidate since Ross Perot who's giving out their message. And 92 was actually the first year that white working class men turned out in a higher percentage than the year before. So we'll see if the same thing happens this year.
Well, I think it will, because we see those rallies that are absolutely enormous. Sarah, thank you very much. Ryan, thank you as well.